people who love them.
Hello, this is The Thing About Cars. Welcome back. It is a cool and foggy day here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are recording as usual at Strong Box West. Around the table we have a newcomer. Ronny, introduce us to our special guest.
Yes, this is my wife, Becky Matthew.
Yay! And our other two usual contributors, collaborators, conspirators are
Beka,
Ben,
and I'm Mickey. So we have Beka, Becky, Ronny, Ben, and Mickey.
and Beka, Cece, has missed out.
Yes.
Joining us today and having a whole bunch of us.
Right. It could have been Beka, and Becky. And if Brent had brought his wife and I had brought my fiance, we'd have had Jen and Jen. So,
True.
Right.
And also Ben could have brought his sister-in-law, correct? She's Becky.
she is. All the Beckys.
Too funny.
We've talked about having a Heather's episode where we have Becca's and Becky's around.
We should do that.
Sounds like a sub-series.
So, what brings you here today?
My husband.
Yeah? He's your chauffeur, if I recall.
He is, yes. I try to get out of driving as much as I can. No, we actually just took a road trip up from Atlanta to New Jersey over the course of the week. It was interesting in more ways than one. Over the course of the trip, we totaled our car.
Ooh.
Oh.
Or it was totaled. It's not our fault. And then I also got to experience firsthand what it's like when people know how to drive on the road. I'd never been in the North as a born and raised Southerner, so it was an educational experience for me.
So are you saying that Southerners don't know how to drive?
I would say their driving skills do not lean toward urban areas, yes.
I have to say that everywhere, it's an epidemic that there is no area that I have been where people aren't idiots on the road. I don't think we can say it strictly.
What would you say are the differences, Becky?
Between the North and the South?
Yeah, what did you see that was impressive to you or left an impression?
I think the most noticeable thing was how on the same page everyone was. The left lane was for passing. You were not in the left lane unless you were passing. Mm-hmm. If there were more than two lanes, then the rightmost lane was slower than the center lane. Saying all this out loud, it seems like common sense. But if you've ever driven in Atlanta, when we have 5 lanes, usually the left lane's the first one to clog up, and inexplicably.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first, common sense is not all that common. My favorite quote, completely, and you're right on the first point that I really wanted to rant about that when I hit here to remind everybody in Georgia, we have 3 different laws to tell you to stay out of left-hand lane, and I have to get all the way over to the right, 5, 6, sometimes lanes over to the right to pass people. And so, yeah.
What else?
There was a general feeling of comfort or commitment, like when people would change lanes, they changed. There wasn't any easing over and taking a solid 45 seconds to get out of the way. If the lane change required acceleration, then they accelerated. If it required them to slow down, they slowed down. There was a willingness to adapt to current traffic conditions that I don't see so much around here.
What does that mean exactly?
So I guess there's this stereotype in the South of like the Sunday driver.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we still have the little old ladies that go for a Sunday drive after church, and instead of matching what everyone else is doing, they putter along in whatever lane they feel like going 45 miles an hour, which on 285 is generally a bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
We were in New Jersey for 4 days, and I can't remember a single instance of one particular car doing something noticeable. Like, it was that uniform of everyone was going the same speed, everyone agreed on what the left lane was for. People have their lights on. That's a pet peeve of my husband when we drive without headlights on down here.
Mine too.
Now we're talking about at night or all the time?
Both. At night for sure, and also in rain. Somehow we managed to be up there for almost 4 straight days of rain. And people always had their lights on. People didn't slam on the brakes and go 15 miles under the speed limit because it was raining. They were still seemed capable of driving in those conditions. So I don't know. I feel like I have to defend the South a little, but only because I'm from here.
I have one defense, but go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I didn't. These are very urban situations.
Yes.
To me, as a Southerner, pretty much the whole of the North is urban. There really isn't rural in New Jersey, as I am accustomed to rural.
It depends on what part you go to. I have been to very podunk New Jersey.
Right. We went to a wedding in a suburban area.
New Jersey is actually quite beautiful, depending on where you go. But anyway, so what's the defense? What's the defense of the South?
I don't have a comparison like more backroads driving or four-wheeling type driving. My dad used to take me four-wheeling all the time when I was a kid. So I can't really compare that kind of driving north versus south, but living in Atlanta now versus driving in and around Newark and New York and Livingston, it was a whole different world. They have something we don't, I think.
So my first question is, why don't you have a Southern accent?
I think it's a combination of factors. Around 2015, 2016, I actually lived in Japan as an English teacher, and you can't really teach English as a foreign language with any particularly heavy accent. So I worked to get a little bit of my roots out.
So you're saying you had?
Oh yeah, I mean it still comes out if I come around family or if I have one too many drinks. Or if I get really excited,
I was about to say, if you probably get mad,
Yeah.
it probably comes out then.
Let's pull that mic this way about 6 inches because she's really, really booming. Yeah, I've been told that when I get tired, my Georgia shows up in my voice. But so I understand this. But my defense of the South is there are not that many Southerners here in Atlanta. Atlanta is very much a transplant town.
Sure.
And it's rare to meet people.
Like Florida here.
It's getting to be like Florida. It's rare to meet people who are born and raised in the area or have lived here. There are people in town who call me a native, and I got here when I was 5 years old. So
I'm from Roswell, Georgia, and because my parents came from the north, I will get grief of people saying that I'm not really a Southerner. So you've got people telling you that you're a native, and I'm in trouble because my parents weren't from here.
I guess I'm hanging around with too many Yankees.
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah. But so, if Atlanta, I don't know that we can blame Atlanta's driving problems on Atlantans. If the truth is that we're simply surrounded by a bunch of corporate transplants.
Well, partly I'm sure, but I've seen some bad driving in the rest of the South too. Like the left lane thing is big in Alabama. Everybody cruises in the left lane in Alabama, and I think part of it is Southerners express their independence through bucking rules and being willfully ignorant. I think that they're still smarting from the Civil War, so this whole "don't tell me how to do it" kind of thing. And if that means driving poorly, then so be it.
So they're like,
That was lame.
I see your rules, and they can go straight to hell. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, somebody once said if you said in the newspaper, don't drink antifreeze, by tomorrow morning there'd be a whole lot of dead Alabamians.
I think that's millennials because weren't they eating the Tide Pods?
No, that's the generation after us. Don't go blaming my generation.
Z, the silent generation. But they do kind of, if I was a dumb, adolescent that never learned anything any better, I would think Tide Pods look delicious.
I'd tell you what, I'd rather drink Prestone than kombucha.
That may be the title of this episode, Ben.
Sure, we just have to spell the last one.
Kombucha is just a fermented, what is it? It's a fermented tea.
It's spell.
It's like a fungus or something.
It's icky.
It's mildly alcoholic.
But it's
Isn't
supposed
all
to change your life for the better, is what I've heard, right? Like it cures all kinds of things. It cures your everything from erectile dysfunction to baldness and.
Well, at $4 a bottle, I'll take my crappy life. If I have to drink 2 of those a day for the rest of my life at $4 a bottle, nah.
So one bottle won't do it, huh?
Many years ago, I used to work in a bookstore. We're completely off topic now.
I was going to circle back to something.
And there was actually tons of stuff available to the person who wanted to brew their own kombucha tea and how to foster the concoction and all of this. It was quite involved. That people were into it back then.
And now it finally made it to your local shelves at Publix.
Exactly. With no scientific data that it actually does anything for you. Right. What were you about to say, Beka?
Well, I was just something earlier. We were talking about the rural New Jersey. One of the places that I visited a while back was Sparta, New Jersey. They actually had farms there. There was a big red barn and everything. And another place that I visited was called Narrowsburg. And I think that one was technically in New York, possibly. It was up in the mountains. Anybody I've ever mentioned it to, even lifelong people from New Jersey, New York, they're not sure what I'm talking about. But at least previously in commercials, 80s, 90s, there was this one road. It was kind of a windy road on the side of a cliff. So you've got the one side with the cliff going straight up, and then you've got the other side straight down to a river. And it was very common for that road to be used in car commercials, and it was up in Narrowsburg. So everybody knew the road, but nobody knew the name of this town. And it was, their bar looked like a shack. It was EBF way out there. So there is podunk out that way, and car connection.
Sure. Well, I mean, again, I want to circle back to the question is the willful ignorance of the rules down here related to just being Southerners who are angry, or is it something else?
I mean, I think there was a theory that for when humans aren't educated, if something is available to them, they will use it. And so, in the case of highways, if you
their brain.
right,
Sorry.
if they keep adding lanes, it's not going to assist in the flow of traffic because people will use the lanes because they're available. I feel like if anyone listening or anyone here has driven on southern roads at low traffic hours, you will see the occasional person change lanes for no reason.
Yes.
Like they'll go from the second to the right lane to the middle lane with no one around.
Right.
And there's absolutely no reason to have done it.
And I see a lot of them.
Sorry. I was just going to say, there's 5 or 6 lanes and maybe 3 cars on the road, and there's still somebody sitting in that left-hand lane.
That, and I've seen a lot of them do what looks initially like a passing maneuver. They get out from behind somebody, and then they don't pass them. They just don't want to be behind them.
Right. So if that happens in the north, you get honked at pretty viciously. You'll get the high beams.
I'll do that too.
There was actually a couple of instances. I mean, I think I've adopted my bullying techniques in the South a little bit too comfortably because I would switch lanes, and in the North, they take cutting off very seriously.
Yeah.
But this is like where I'm reminded that there are a bunch of jerks in the North. I'll leave my signal on for a solid, 4 or 5 seconds, and there'll be enough distance for me to switch lanes and move in. If you can see both headlights in your rear view mirror, in your side view mirror, you have enough room to move in front of them. Mm-hmm. But most people don't like that because they feel like they're being cut off. So they want at least 2 car lengths before you move in front of them. But if someone's going slow in front of me, I'm taking my chances, dude. Like, I'm going to take that spot. So I'll make the move. I'll give them plenty of notice, but they won't slow down at all for you. They'll just maintain their speed. And then you'll get flipped off and they'll leave the high beams on. Which, I mean, compared to the South of like some crazy guy trying to shoot you, isn't all that bad. I'll take your high beams. And for those of you that don't have electrochromatic mirrors, in your rear view mirror, that little tab that's right at the bottom? If you flip that, it'll actually change the angle of the mirror so the high beams don't go straight into your eyes. It'll actually do a reflection effect where you'll see like a secondary image of what's behind you.
Makes it darker.
Well, I hate the electrochromatic mirrors. I hate
them. I like the old-fashioned tabby
ones. The old-fashioned with the tab because those electric ones have never faded fast enough. I always get a flash effect off of them. Ooh. There's always a time lag. I don't like them at all.
And then we need them on the side mirrors.
Yes, side mirrors, yes.
Because some expletive, usually a big old truck, will come up and have one bright headlight firmly planted in your side mirror.
I actually turn my side mirrors down at night.
I use them so much, though. I'm constantly using my mirrors.
I admit it's not the smartest thing in the world to do, but if I can't see a headlight glow, it's safe.
Right.
Right.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, so are we done?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you are from the north and you are now here in the south, please educate your southern brethren. Because as we were driving back down from New Jersey, literally as soon as we hit the North Carolina state line, people just started moving into the left lane.
I got to say, I had something similar happen. We drove back from Pennsylvania once, and as soon as we crossed into North Carolina, things just went to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were flying through Virginia as much as possible. For those of you that are road travelers,
You're slower there.
don't go too fast in Virginia because you will face some serious issues. We got pulled over because my cell phone mount was center mounted instead of side mounted. So the suction cup was in the middle of the windshield and low down on the dash, and that's where my navigation was. And we got pulled over. The cop was nice enough. And he's like, I could see y'all aren't from around here, but just so you know, it's a Virginia law that you would take your navigation screen there, and you might just want to tuck it in the corner right there. And it was interesting because it sounded like he was giving me a choice, but I know he wasn't.
By the window? Is that what he means?
Yeah. Between
You mean where it could fly out the window and you choose to drive with
Just
it?
put it on the A-pillar.
Yeah, it
Just
needs,
No, it's just I don't trust anything unless it's soldered in place to not fly out the window when the window's open if you take a corner too fast.
yeah.
Well,
I
just keep your windows closed.
Right.
No.
Well, now we know why people drive in the left lane in the South. I mean, we have a native Southerner with us. She says no to the rules.
Wait, no
Theory
because I
verified.
want to be able to roll my window. It's not a rule in Georgia that you have to keep your
Windows up.
Right.
no that your cell phone has to be at the side of the car. You're just not allowed to touch it.
Well, Virginia's a little special anyway.
Virginia is a little special.
And they have a law against radar detectors. Unless that has
Yeah.
been changed at
No.
any point, you cannot even have it
No, that's
shown
accurate.
anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's off. You hide it, you lock it, you
Yeah.
don't let them even see it if they're looking in your car.
So what was I going to say? Crap, completely left my brain.
I hate that.
So what I would like to see in Georgia is a crackdown on these people who are mounting their phones or navs right above their steering wheel, right? It's like literally at the 1 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position right above their steering wheel. And I'm thinking, how is this legal?
It's right in their line of sight.
It's right in your line of
Yeah.
sight. And not only that, but it's brightly lit so that your pupils are doing the whole contracting thing. And the minute you need to look down a dark road, you can't see anything because of that device that's above your steering wheel.
Dim your phones if you're out at night and you've got like navigation on.
Yeah.
But also, how do you have room to mount something there? Are you just covering over your gauges? I have it on
No,
the
it's on
car
the
that
glass.
has
It's on
enough-
it's on the windshield.
On the glass. Okay, you're right. I didn't think about the glass.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the dashboard.
I don't know where. I mean, if you are a listener that has that kind of mount that can reach your phone straight to your steering wheel, where did you get your mount from? Because mine are so stubby and so short that like it's deep in the dashboard.
Yeah. There's a brand name called Otley or Otley that has a telescoping arm. That I've noticed that it's terribly unstable. That of course, the longer you get it out, the more it wobbles.
Right.
And anyway,
Well, they're all.
there are other telescoping versions, but they're all terribly unstable. And I
Yeah.
guess it also depends on the car. Like if you're driving one of these things with this big, I don't know the word for it, and that's not cab forward. It's a huge steering wheel with your dashboard that you can play football on.
Large dash area.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And some cars don't have that.
Yeah, no, most of mine, but there used to be, and I don't know if this is still around or not, there used to be a law where you could not obstruct your view from the windshield. So there
Right.
was no using suction cups to mount things in the windows. You weren't even supposed to have things hanging from your rear view. So I guess I'm still following that notion
Right.
and finding places on the dash or forward area to mount things, not the windshield.
Well, and not only that, here we are talking about people's stupidity and suggesting that the law has a way to correct that. It's like, can't we just get people not to be stupid and not worry about the law? Stop putting the phone where it shouldn't be.
There would need to be a Darwinian clearing. I don't know.
I mean, it comes back to education and the mandate of it because, I mean, Sure, there are the people that are rebellious in their form and fashion of, well, I don't want to follow your stupid rules. I like the way I drive and I like the way the roads are and whatever.
Right.
But I think if you actually sat people down and were like, hey, what you're doing is actually a detriment to society. You should really learn how to drive and navigate and be respectful of other people on the road. Because, yes, the person that goes 100 miles an hour doesn't own the road, but he's not really doing anything to screw you up, or she's not doing anything to screw you up.
Right.
They're just trying to go to where they're trying to go. When you're going slow in a certain lane and you're causing a ripple effect that blocks out all the lanes,
Right.
that's slowing down even people that want to go the speed limit.
Plus the people that are having to go around, passing on the right and making lane changes can sometimes cause accidents.
Oh, yes.
So it's, you get over and allow them to have free passing.
And the more agitated the drivers become, the more dangerous they become.
Yes.
That's great. Never mind the other auxiliary effects of traffic bringing a larger carbon footprint and stress, which increase health care costs, and other documented things like apparently people who live in cities with serious traffic problems have a 40% higher divorce rate than cities who don't. So there's tons of reasons why you shouldn't be an idiot in the South.
It's a pretty part of the country. Why be idiot?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've got plenty of stories from up north. My mom's
Oh, sure.
huge family I've mentioned in the past all live up in Michigan, and I have seen some truly boneheaded moments that have stuck in my brain from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So and they pick on us for not being able to drive in the snow, and I can't seem to convince them it's because it's ice here. But up there, I have seen what looks like a movie stunt just because someone has truly epically messed up in the snow.
Well,
And-
I would say, what about all the transplants from the north who live here? Why are they not leading by example? When I lived in Denver, the first snow of the year, everyone screwed up, and the rest of the year, everyone behaved normally and responsibly. But it took that first snowfall to mess things up. And our problem here in the South is we only get that one snowfall. There's not an entire season of snow that we can behave responsibly.
Right.
Last year, I think we had like 5 events. But no, I'm a Southerner, and I've managed to navigate situations in my rear-wheel drive V8s that these other people, Northerners, you would think, I got rear-ended by a guy from Colorado one time because he couldn't control his car in winter weather where I did just fine. And it baffles me. But
All right, so we've run out of time. Ronnie, you want to wrap us up?
Sure. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Check us out on thethingaboutcars.com. Follow us on Facebook. Give us your feedback. We are happy to hear from all of you. If you have anything to correct us on, please correct us. If you want to discuss, let's discuss. We are looking for funding. Check out our Patreon. We are in need of donations so we can get some better equipment, so we can bring you some better content. We are also exploring the options of going to video. We know you love our voices, but we think you'll love our faces even more. So let's see what we can do to make that happen.
Let's have some fun together.
Yeah, let's make a car community again. Let's make something special together. What does everyone say to that? Huh?
Definitely.
Yay! All right. Well, once again, thank you. This is The Thing About Cars coming from Strong Box West, and we will see you all next time.
bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Thing About Cars. We'll see you on the road.